Okay, so the first time that I watched Challengers in theaters, it genuinely captivated me. So much so that I went home and I could not stop thinking about this damn movie. So, naturally, as anyone would do, I decided to write an essay about this movie. So the film centers on tennis players, Tashi Duncan, Art Donaldson, and Patrick Zweig, portrayed by Zendaya, Mike Feist, and Josh O'Connor, respectively. The film is a 13-year saga depicted through a singular tennis match in a non-linear narrative. The film transforms the match into more than a game of tennis, but a psychological chess game. Challengers vividly illustrates how fixation on a particular passion can strain relationships and heighten tension for those engulfed by it. Similarly, this theme resonates strongly in films like The Prestige, Black Swan, and Whiplash. Each of these films depicts protagonists relentlessly pursuing unattainable ideals, which drives them to extreme measures in pursuit of validation and excellence. However, while the theme of tennis-driven obsession and toxicity is central to the film, Challengers also explores tennis as a metaphor for relationships, the complex dynamics between Art and Patrick, and the ironic exploration of sex.
It was something we started talking about early on in the process when we were thinking about how to do the tennis scenes, that's really the most intimate place all these characters find themselves. There's something they can say to each other on the tennis court that they can't say to each other with language or with their bodies in any other part of their lives.
It's not accidental that Challengers focuses on tennis, which is unique among popular sports because bad behavior or etiquette violations directly affect the game's score.
Code violation, racket abuse, point penalty, wide. Code violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, point penalty, wide.
So the incompatibility of three is just one of the backbones of this film's social context. Just as it disorients the nature of the one-on-one or 2 versus 2 game, it also defies heteronormative, monogamous society. As only 2 people can be on the court at the same time, or on the same team in doubles, so only 2 people can be in a relationship at the same time. Tashi's magnetic appeal to both Art and Patrick is juxtaposed with her unsuitability as a romantic partner. One of the pivotal symbolic moments occurs when Tashi draws parallels between tennis and romantic relationships, emphasizing the necessity of chemistry for a genuine connection to happen. Like in tennis, where opponents depend on each other despite competing, relationships evolve through mutual understanding and rhythm. Tashi's approach to tennis mirrors her approach to love, ferocious yet elegant, imposing yet precise, which captivates both Art and Patrick. However, her unyielding dominance, depicted vividly through visual cues like aggressive swings at the screen, reflects her need for control and refusal to show vulnerability, mirroring the power dynamics in her romantic interactions. Tashi's commanding demeanor challenges traditional masculinity by imploring her sexuality and charisma to control her tennis-playing husband, Art, illustrating power dynamics and relationship complexities through manipulation. In contrast, Art and Patrick's relationship exemplifies a healthier dynamic before Tashi's intervention, characterized by mutually beneficial codependency and symbolized through their synchronized exercises and gameplay. A striking stylistic choice in Challengers is the use of white and black wardrobes to code Art and Patrick specifically. They are reminiscent of the classic Western trope of color dichotomy, representing good and evil. The film subtly suggests the romantic undertones in Art and Patrick's interactions overshadowed by their competition for Tashi's affection, a reflection of how we often overlook genuine connections right before us in real relationships. Initially, the movie seems to follow a conventional, heteronormative narrative of 2 men competing for the affection of a woman who is the object of their desire. Yet, we are presented explicitly with the homoerotic undertones within Art and Patrick's relationship. Challengers highlights the fluidity and flexibility of identities, particularly about sexuality, emphasizing that people's understanding and expression of their sexual selves can shift and adapt over time and in different circumstances. An example of this is when we learn Patrick taught Art how to masturbate, which hints at a deeper, unspoken intimacy between the 2 of them.
He showed me how. I mean, he did it on his bed. Okay. I did it on my bed. We did it together, but like on opposite sides of the room. You know.
In Michael DeAngelis' book, Reading the Bromance, Homosocial Relationships in Film and Television, a chapter written by Jenna Weinman, finds that white heteronormative middle-class values, such as marriage and fatherhood, makes a young male protagonist into a mature adult. Consequently, in Challengers, Art marries Tashi, has a daughter, and severs ties with Patrick. Additionally, Challengers avoids explicit sex scenes. Instead, the characters engage in provocative behavior, teasing each other. Planned intimate moments are often interrupted, like when Tashi and Patrick fight, disrupting a potential sex scene. Characters discuss past sexual experiences, and Art and Patrick even develop a coded language within their tennis serves to convey specific sexual acts. And furthermore, the portrayal of men is typically reserved for women in movies, with numerous scenes featuring visuals of men removing clothing, showing shoulders, upper legs, sweating, close-ups of glistening skin, steamy rooms, wet hair, and occasional full frontal nudity. You get the point. The film brilliantly utilizes the environment to project the concept of sex, employing innuendos and symbolic elements to convey eroticism. This includes scenes where Art and Patrick gaze at Tashi as her short white skirt blows in the wind, playful gestures like Patrick moving Art's chair closer, and Art humorously biting into Patrick's churro, and intense moments such as a windstorm symbolizing the rekindled passion between Tashi and Patrick. I just love this film so much. I also want to add, or would just like to mention, how the film uses suggestive elements that associate the central tennis match with a prolonged metaphor for sex. Hear me out. One example is how brief interactions between Art and Patrick on the court are elongated through slow motion techniques, stretching what would be a 10-second moment into minutes that nearly freeze the action. And as the film progresses, the slow motion effect intensifies, building this unbearable anticipation that mirrors the build-up to a climax. I said what I said, and by the final 15 minutes, viewers, and even you, may find yourself eagerly wishing for a quicker pace akin to the anticipation of climax during intercourse. And look, this heightened tension is further emphasized by audible moans exchanged between Art and Patrick as they rally back and forth on the court. Okay, so anyway, towards the end of the film, Tashi urges Patrick to let her husband, Art, win their tennis match. But during the match, however, Patrick reveals to Art that he had been intimate with Tashi the night before by using their coded tennis serve. This revelation reignites Art's competitive spirit, evident when he aggressively serves a ball close to Patrick's head. The match transforms into a genuine competition fueled by personal dynamics rather than mere gameplay. The quote, "The goal is not to destroy, but to achieve, to discover how effectively one's power can be used to bring about a successful outcome," resonates throughout the narrative. Ultimately, the characters undergo transformations. Art gains confidence, Patrick embraces modesty and discipline, and Tashi fulfills her long-held aspirations by watching Art and Patrick on the tennis court. And I know that was a lot, just under 10 minutes, but in summary, the film portrays three individuals who face challenges not driven by a desire to defeat or dominate each other, but to mutually challenge and motivate one another to push boundaries and develop their abilities. Through its exploration of passion and obsession, the film challenges these conventional notions of competition and illustrates how the pursuit of excellence can reshape personal bonds. The film highlights the fluidity of gender roles and the intricate dance of power and vulnerability. Moreover, the film celebrates sex without explicit scenes by presenting sex not as mere physicality, but as an outlet for deeper exploration of power dynamics and personal identity, echoing Oscar Wilde's sentiment that everything in the world is about sex, except sex. Sex is about power. Ultimately, Challengers compels us to confront the multifaceted nature of human connection and to engage with life's complexities with the same passion as a tennis match, ready to serve and return with all the energy of a well-struck ball.